Hi everyone, I think I'm on. Let me know if I'm not and things aren't working. I've never done this before and I'm very technologically illiterate. Welcome to SGDC with your self-loving host, Max. We're going to show our stuff, what everyone's been working on lately. You can press spacebar and it changes color. Our first presenter of the evening is Tintin. Woo! Give a round of applause.
See here. Yes. Okay. See here. Yes. So, on the topic of character creation. For SGDC, for the Indie Quest, I am currently creating a little animated short because it turns out that 2D people who animate are in greater demand than 2D people who can't animate, and 2D people who can animate are in great demand because not very many of them can do it, and they don't work in games. So, for my World War I top-down shooter, this is the process I went through to make the characters. Design their distinct character designs that you use when you animate. So I start out with keywords. Which is when I brainstorm, and I start off with the keyword World War I pilots. Also British pilots, but I decided just pilots in general because then I'll have a wider breadth to choose from. Plus, the outfits they wore were kind of interchangeable at times. And then I broke World War I pilots down into several elements, just to make sure stuff gets interesting and, not just cookie cutter, because, I love bagels, but they can't all be bagels. So that means I write them down, what kind of stuff are cool about them? Do they have boots? Yes, they do. Are they dashing? Could be. Are they daring? Could be. And then, so then I have those more keywords. And then I go on to check the parameters, because now I have a list of stuff that I want for inspiration. So now I plug these in, and I want to go very low on the fantasy scale, because this isn't Assassin's Creed where people have or Final Fantasy where people have 11 belt buckles in places where it's not super practical. So I don't want any useless details. I want everything to be built from function as it would have been back in the day, unless you were in 18th century France. And I want the function to line up with the character's rank and place in the world, because this is an example of design thinking, which means that you start from what is this thing being useful rather than what looks cool. Because the guys who design Final Fantasy, they're the ones who go with what looks cool. I'm not a Final Fantasy guy. So, here is reference pictures. So I go on Pinterest, Google Images, or image folders, whatever. I type in World War I pilot. Sometimes I add some of the other keywords like dashing, boots, etc. And here's where I go for inspiration, and I take down the ones that I like the most. And then I combine this with some other influences that I have looked at. For example, one of them has Arctic Explorer vibes, so I went with that. Also, I found out that Jack Harkness, he had a super cool jacket, and I found out that's from World War II, but it turns out greatcoats of this model were used as early as World War I, and they came in a leather model, so we have that. Also, boots and shoes, because as you can see, that guy has a very pair of shoes that looks very standard and that everyone had, and I feel like this is a place where I could really give the character some distinction, because even if everything was uniform, there's still some room to play around in general. So I start with making silhouettes and make sure that these are all distinct. I want them all to be visually differentiable at this stage. This is a staple in animation. So I make sure that their hair are different. That one's elegant, that one's bubbly, that one's shortcut to the point. Give that one a scarf to make him stand out, make him smaller, have him wide shoulders. Give that one a coat and make sure everyone sees the coat. Make that one kind of slender because she's a girl and has her waist up here instead of down there. So yeah. And then I go on to actually draw, first of all, the images in front, because these are the ones we're going to be working from primarily. And now I take the silhouette and I basically just draw on top of it, I change parts of it if I need, but make sure that the base silhouette is, like, you can still see the base silhouette in all of these. Look here. Elegant hair, bubbly hair, and sharp hair. And I also go forward and give them some different facial expressions, so that I have something to work with animation-wise. And also to give an example of this is what they're gonna look like when they emote. I also make this, which is a side view. I know it looks super ugly. And yes, they're supposed to be drawn without arms. This is also an animation thing, and it's mainly just so that I have a 360 reference. Finally, I write down some stylization notes, because these are stylized, these are cartoon characters, and I want them to look like the same kind of cartoon characters drawn by the same person every single time. Because with realism, if you don't write any notes for this, there's a strong chance that your stylized characters can run into a bad case of same face. Finally, here are more notes that are accompanying them. So, any questions? Wow, I actually went over 5 minutes.
All right. Yes, there's no questions. Round of applause for Tintin. Could we get someone to monitor chat? But in the meantime, we've got a presentation from from Ash presenting the incredible CHORDIOID.
Hello, I haven't been here in a couple weeks at SGDC because I've been incredibly busy. I also don't have a real presentation, I just have a couple screenshots and then I'm going to show you my brand new Steam page. So, a couple weeks ago I was just reading a fun little Undertale localization book and I found a funny thing that I decided to post on Twitter. That post got 40,000 likes. So I decided, you know, I don't like advertising, it feels yucky, but I'm trying to make my game my job, so I should promote a little bit under that tweet. And so I did. It also got quite a few good responses, and by the end of the week my follower count had doubled and over 3,000 people had liked a follow-up tweet about the game itself. So I've been really trying to get my stuff together and actually get some marketing stuff and like a Steam page and a website and a proper trailer so people can actually follow the whole development process. It's been very nice and very heartwarming and very motivating and also very overwhelming. Just like I've had so many like DMs and emails and just people wanting to know more and throw money at my game, and I don't have a way for them to do that yet, which is frustrating, but I'm working on it. And so like 2 days ago I finally published the Steam page, which everyone is mandated to go wishlist or else. No, but it's in Showcase. I'll bump it up after the SGDC, and right now I'm just going to show you the brand new fancy trailer I made. And that's it. I just wanted to show off. Hang on. Yeah.
Top of the thing.
Very dumb joke, but I had to put it in there. So yeah, that's it for me. Go wishlist and boost and retweet and whatever. I'm so tired, but it's been a very cool few weeks. Any questions? Cool. Thanks.
Alright.
Oh, sorry. Didn't see.
So what's the next step?
The next step is just get the demo out. I'm trying to get it out before the next Steam Next Fest. I'm also talking to a publisher, which might hopefully go somewhere, and then I won't have to do all the marketing myself. But mostly it's just going to be a grind for the next few months. So yeah, I'm very busy.
Did you at least create a Patreon?
Sorry?
Did you at least create a Patreon?
I do not have a Patreon. I probably want to do a Kickstarter at some point, but I want to do that after the demo is out. And in the meantime, I might open up a Ko-Fi or something just so people can send some money. But, you know, I don't like Patreon for one specific thing. That's more for general creators, and I'm making this specifically. So, all right. Cool.
Round of applause for Ash.
Thanks.
The music in Chordioid is so good. Next up is Daniel to say that he's back. It's a comeback tour. Round of applause.
Well done. Let's see if I made my presentation public or if I forgot. Where is the house bot?
You are the house.
I am, yes. I keep forgetting that every time I'm confused what's happening. Windows and F. No. Yes. Okay, well, I'm back and I'm up to no good. So what does that mean? Like, well, James already did a spoiler. I'm a resident duct tape wizard now. So if something breaks, please, as usual, do issue posts, but also like come to me, talk to me. I'm hopefully either able to help you or find the people who will then be able to help you or hire other people to help you. It's like, this will now be me. And like, this will be me fixing your problems, hopefully. What I do as well is I brought some tarot decks. I had other stuff, so I couldn't bring all of them, sadly. But if you want to have like a tarot reading, or you just like looking at cards and want to see stuff, or if you're like, hey, how does tarot work? Please explain. I'll do some activities for it later, but if you just like, for now, are like, oh, I'm going to move away soon, or just like want to have it now, or like whenever I get around to doing stuff, feel free to message me. I'd be very happy to have an excuse to use the card for, but just someone else than me in journaling. Those threes I have is like with cats, with like witch stuff, and one that's like fantasy themed. It has like a bit of like D&D energy in it, but it's like general fantasy. That like, if you want that, yeah, it exists. And aside from that, tabletop RPGs. I've heard a few people have like running rounds in the house where it's like a long standing campaign. And I was like, I want to go like offer some one shots every now and then, like different systems. At the moment, I'm very hyped for Blades in the Dark. It will change eventually, as usual with me. But like, if there's something on this list where you're like, oh, I really wanted to play that at some point, here I'm very sure we will easily find players for it, and scheduling will be more possible than back at home. So yeah, just approach me if you want any of those. Otherwise, I'll just post activities whenever I'm like, okay, I found a good one-shot, I'm gonna run this, who wants to play? And in the end, hopefully, I'll also do that for my own thingy I want to build. But yeah, that's about this. Yeah, that's the state of it. So yeah, that will take a bit more time. I'm getting there, but yeah, for now, fixing the house is first priority, and then we'll get to that. But yeah, that's it for now. Quick update only. So, any questions? Or like, oh yeah.
As someone who knows about tarot,
Yes.
why is there a tarot shop in Beckelsong?
Is there?
Yes.
I
Crystals and Tarot shop.
Oh, the weird
Lotus.
Lotus.
Can you explain it?
Like, I look at that store and I'm like, why are you here? There can't be like a big criminal underground network in that building, but it feels like the front for that, because like I've never seen a single person in that building.
Are you tempted to buy tarot from there? Tarot cards?
I'm tempted to take other routes so I don't have to get too close to that building. But no, I'll eventually check it out just so I know what the hell is going on while it's here. But they have some tarot decks, so yes, if you want like occult or like just spirituality supplies, that store actually has that, weirdly enough, in this village. So okay, attention I think was first.
Given your previous comment about your feelings towards the crystal shop, tarot shop, whatever, are you a Highlander?
Highlander would be...
You know, like there's this TV series, they are Highlanders, they are immortal, and there can only be one, so they have to kill each other every time they meet.
If I am, I will die very tragically once another Highlander finds me, because I have not been told that I would be. So let's hope I'm not, because I would just like a peaceful death would be preferred. But yeah.
They have candy too.
Thank you. I don't know I signed up to advertise a weird local store, but yeah, they have candy too. Is it weird occult themed candy?
No.
It's ice cream.
They just have candy. Okay, sure.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Like it's all right. Okay, any more questions that are not related to the one store in Weckersong? Yeah, I thought as much. Well done.
Okay.
All right, fantastic. Give it up again for our duct tape wizard. So, next up might be Glenn, who maybe has something. Let's find out what the mysteries are installed from the top.
Hello. So, hi. Thank you. I'm Glenn. I'm working on Aquamundo. Maybe if you're new here and you were at the house meeting, this is the game that James is banking everything on. He's hoping that this will somehow keep Spelkollektivet afloat. But yeah, I want to show where the game is at the moment. So it's a water park tycoon game. Sorry, Aaron. I will remove that soon. No, not safe. So I just have 2 parks I can just show. So if you remember from last time I presented, there was no scenery, so no rocks and no trees. So this is now. I feel like suddenly it looks so much more polished already, and I'll just quickly open the water, and then the slides will also open, and we have people. And I don't have slide physics yet, so it's just a very relaxed ride right now. But yeah, so this is one park, and then let's go to the next. Yeah, I would like to go to a park like this in real life. I'll quickly open all the directions here as well. Yeah, so what I added lately, I will not open this slide. Lately I've been working on the editor for the slides, so now I have this nice outline, and like it shows through other objects, so you have an idea of what you're actually working on. Yeah. Let's open this, and then let's have some people again. And then also a system I recently created is like a color palette system. So if I, for example, want to change the color of these pools, I can, and I have a randomize button, which I like because I can just go through until I like one of them. So the pool bottom and the sides can have different textures, and then you can also, per texture, you can choose different colors, or you can choose the scale. This is for the side of the pool. So yeah, you can do that for every path, pool, and slide. Let's, for example, quickly go through some options for the paths. And I just like so much how it's so easy to create things that look cool, even though these are kind of still placeholder textures. Yeah, let's do one more slide, because also the slides can have different textures, like this. I'm glad that Jay isn't here, because he would probably call me out on horrible color palette. But yeah, also these are the text. No, the models are made by Jay, who many of you know here in the house. So I'm very happy to finally have some trees and rocks and the people made by him. Yeah, that's the state of the game at the moment. I'll just, if you want to wishlist this game or join the Discord, you can scan this or find Aquamundo on Steam. Wishlists are highly appreciated. And then I'll just maybe go over here and ask if there are any questions. Yes, Marika.
When you were able to pick the alphas or the style of the texture, would you consider it possible to put in your own? Or
Yes.
upload your own so you can...
Yeah, so both
So like
for
the
the
Sims.
scenery and also for the textures, for the color palettes, you will be able to use your own, import them in the game. So, yeah. Yes, Ash?
Is the transgender pride flag pool bottom intentional, or is it just an amazing coincidence?
It's an amazing coincidence.
Hell yeah.
Yes?
I'm curious if you had like any game that you used as like a frame of reference for all the color palette customization, because it seems like way more robust than any customization I've seen.
No. No, I kind of just had the idea originally to make it really easy to have one color palette and apply it to different things, but then be able to still change the color palette and it will apply to everything. And then it's kind of snowballed, like, oh, I also want textures, and then it just became this its own thing. I haven't really seen it in another game this specific. Any other questions? No? Okay.
All right. Excellent stuff. Glenn doesn't need any PowerPoints because his game has lots of slides already. All right. I got the okay laugh, which is all that matters. All right. Next up, give it up for Alaric's Adventure, hosted by Pontus.
So yeah, I finally finished my first game in the IndieQuest, and that is not my game. Here's my game. So it's a action adventure-ish console-based text adventure game. And I've been working on it for a little more than a week or so, and then I came to a point where it was just like, okay, I'm gonna finish this and get on with it. But so the story starts with him basically being cast out by his father, the revered baker, on a quest to find the most amazing baguette recipe, and through this he ventures across the Shadowlands and tries to find, the best recipe to make the baguette. And then you get option to start your adventure now. And also the reason it's not in the console right now is because Florian was kind enough to port my game to Unity and make it actually playable on all devices. So give it up for Florian, guys. That is amazing. So then it's like semi-auto and semi-manual kind of gameplay. Like after an encounter with a normal enemy, you can always basically decide what you want to do. You can go back to town and then you finish where you are in the path that you're taking, and you can see your stats, you can see your weapons, that it's randomly generated everything. So a little bit of luck and a little bit of knowing after a while when things normally come and what is worth doing plays into it. But right now, nothing special, so then we just can keep going. And I felt it really hard to make, this is the first game I've ever made more than trying to do some super simple clone of individual systems and individual games. And I've had a tremendous amount of help from my teachers, which Matej and Remy, and all my peers around here. So it's been a really cool experience. So as you can see, I don't know if it's really visible on this TV Yeah, but those are supposed to be different colors. I'm slightly colorblind, so I'm sorry if they're not really different colors.
They are.
Yeah, okay, cool. And then it's like, you know, if your HP drops down, you die, and you get like, now you're not really gonna die on the easiest, but I'm just trying to get some loot here so I can show you what happens, like, or how it functions. Oh, and now we encounter like the path boss, basically, and on completion of a path, you get additional experience points. So that might make you level up, so you can like use your stats somewhere, get more attack power, or you know, more health, so you can survive longer. Because the next path is the easy, medium, and hard path. They're incrementally getting harder and harder, and maybe sometime around you're going to find out the final path, and that is an extremely difficult path compared to the first ones. But there's also like the respawn mechanics when you're fighting a boss, so it gives you some sort of leniency. Also because I didn't want it to be like, oh, you have to play this game for an hour to actually see the ending. The first run, more often than not, takes more than 5 minutes to actually play through, so I won't have time to show you the lore in the ending, but there will be a sequel to this game. And that is the project I'm writing my game design document for right now. So it will be a follow-up, and the lore will build on it. And I'm planning to make a trilogy of the series here at IndieQuest, so they all are sort of interconnected. And see, now I got a weapon, so then we can just see if it's better or not. And it's definitely better. So now I was lucky enough to get the best in slot loot, which has a really, really low drop chance. But it's also going to make me probably slightly overpowered for where I am right now. So then we can just either, after like a fight, you can go back to town, you can change your equipment. But as like I took inspiration from the Dark Souls series, like you can't always level up no matter where you are. So you have to make a decision. Am I going back, or am I risking something for maybe a little bit more of a reward? Or am I going back and taking the safe way of doing something a little bit slower? So that's why you can't level up now immediately. There's not really much more to it. It just keeps going like this until the game has decided that you are experienced enough to take on the... so that weapon is doo-doo. I would not take that. But that's the thing, right? And I took the looting system a little bit from Diablo, where it can be like even a higher ranked weapon could be worse than what you have depending on your luck with it, which also kind of not increases replayability, but it opens up for some min-maxing when you're trying to speedrun it, which some people have done, and I'm really grateful for that, because I never expected anyone to play this more than once and say like, okay, do something else, man. But yeah, that's basically it. There's really not much more happening. Really simple. It's a game. That's what it is. And any questions or anything? Yes.
I have two questions. One is, do boss battles you don't see the enemy's HP, or because I thought this first time around you were able to see the enemy's HP as well.
That might have gotten lost in translation from the port in that case.
So
I
you're
don't
supposed
remember.
to see the HP also for the bosses?
Yes.
Okay. That's okay. Second question is, are you going to make a web build now that you can export one from Unity?
Yes.
And where can we find the game?
You can find it on my itch.
Can
So
you post a link?
I can post a link.
Showcase
Hill.
channel?
Huh?
Showcase channel?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah.
Slack panic.
Yeah, but really nothing else. And yeah, that's me. Thank you. Oh, wait.
Will the baguette be a part of the other series as well?
Oh, hell yeah.
And will it get longer the more games you make?
Will the baguette get longer?
Well, if you make this
Now this.
continue and job path
Yeah.
can continue. But yes, so
The baguette will see improvements throughout the series. Yes. Yes.
Chat during the presentation asked if this is a match. I assume it's not a multi-user dungeon thingy, but or what is a match before I?
Yeah.
What is what?
It's single player, correct? The game. at the moment.
Multi-user dungeon. Is it a multi-user dungeon?
No.
Okay.
No. That's way too hard for me to make at the moment. Yeah.
Why is the baguette not the best in slot?
Okay, now you came to a very interesting question. So I feel like I have to respond to this because some have been complaining that they haven't found the baguette yet. The baguette is the legendary best in slot rare drop that you can find on the final path to completing the game. And so far only 2 people have gotten it here. And those people subsequently happen to be the French people. And that is a sick coincidence, if you ask me. That's like insane. But yeah, it's also very funny. And but yeah, the baguette, and as I said with the Diablo system, the baguette tends to be the best weapon you're going to find. But if you found a best in slot epic instead of legendary, and you didn't get the best in slot legendary, you might have a better epic than the baguette. But yeah, I know, kind of removing from the rarities a little bit.
Will the sequels have other pastries or baked goods that you can deal with? What if I'm more of a croissant guy?
Yeah. So, okay. A croissant kind of looks like a throwing star, right?
Yes.
Or like... Yeah, or something like that. I mean, like... Okay. Quick poll. Who thinks a croissant is throwable? Okay, I'm guessing I'm having a throwable croissant in my next game. Yeah. Cool, yeah. Definitely.
Eat the bread.
Hmm?
Eat the bread.
Keep the bread?
Yeet.
Yeet. No. You don't mess around with the baguette. Like, that's the sacred part. Yeah.
Can you pet the baguette?
You know, I had something like that planned, actually. I really did. It's, I was thinking of having like, so my next game, I'll take that now, is going to be like a 1v1 brawler. So I was thinking of kind of like taunting the other player, and I guess he could do it while petting his baguette. So you just gave me like 50 more animation frames to add. Thank you, Matej. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun little trilogy that's going to amount to nothing more than a couple laughs. So that's great. Well, anything else? No, thank God. Thank you, guys.
Everyone asking him for bigger and more pastries. Talk about your feature crepe.
Oh.
Anyway, Mariana is here with lights and music.
I'm here. I don't carry many lights, though. Slide. Okay, so I'm working on a game called Quarter 1996 together with Flan, and we'll do like a double presentation. So I'll be more talking about music, and he will do the lights part. But yeah, we had it's a point and click adventure. Kind of like almost like an unpacking, but in a post-Soviet setting, because I really want to have more media that's nostalgic to me as well, but also like in a vaporwave, synthwave style. And in the game you can go to, like, you discover a secret pathway to other people's apartments, and you can rummage through their things and kind of find out their stories. And last time we were like presenting, we also had like a little bit first gameplay session here in the house, and we got feedback that we should really focus on the story and, you know, flesh out the writing. So of course we started working on lights and music instead, and that's what we've been doing past few weeks. And here's a little reminder of some like progress we've made from the olden days when we started. And I've been like kind of learning pixel art as I go along. And first we had this like very 3D-ish point of view, and now then we flattened it and made it nicer. And I've been like tweaking really small things, like trying to find like a shadow tones for the scenes, trying out very not excessive amounts of dither, and like changing like very subtle wall colors that are almost not noticeable but make the thing better. Also I've been like learning music as I go along, and I don't have anything resembling like a full track or anything to show, but I wanted to show just a little bit of like trying to find like the sound for the game. And I have like first like I'll play like an intro sound of like you're in the city and you're kind of arriving to the new place, then like a more calm and indoor sound, and like just like a variation of like being in an apartment and exploring, but it's like just very basic, like starting out layers of the song. But I'll play some music now. That's me. Any questions? Mike?
I don't know how you did it, but it's cozy, creepy, eerie music at the same time? Which kind of styles or inspirations you had for your music?
Well, I'm mostly inspired by vaporwave musicians, like there's Windows 1996, an artist called and film Skylines. But whenever I start making something, it's like really hard to not make a horror theme. So I'm like pushing towards like a more cozy vibe, but it's really hard to not like make it full cozy, and yeah.
I mean, I love it. It's cozy shivers.
Cool.
All right. All right. Next up is part 2 of the same presentation. It's Flan with lights. Give it up for Flan.
Hello. We didn't stick our presentations together into one thing. That would have been smart. So I'm also working on Quarter 1996. I am more on the implementation side, doing code, and you don't have permission to play. I'll come. I didn't make the videos public.
We can have Åke go and then.
No. I'll just do it without the videos because the visuals are still here. The videos were just to show like some of the editor tools. On screen now, this is some basically the palettes for each of the different apartments. I can't claim that I've done this. This is Mariana's beautiful work. She managed to get all of this done before her Photoshop expired, so it's a pretty good use of the tool. And also we've got these dark scenes, and so having found something that works really well in Photoshop and not wanting to, draw this many times, I set about finding a shader that will turn the top images to the bottom images by applying the right linear burn function, but also sort of doing a cutout effect between the two different layers to basically simulate some lighting. So I had a few attempts. I started out with, this was actually before I was sort of going from the palettes. Actually, you can see bottom left, there's a bit of the dark palette in there. But I kind of started out very simple. Lights, they come from points, they go in circles, right? I just sort of got something working, just wanted to see something working. But that is not how a real light works. As you can probably tell, it doesn't look right. But, it was a start, just to try something. I also wanted to try edge detection. So this is where, when the light shines towards an object, if it shines towards the edge of the object, you get a glow. Also, if you set the offset distance really high, you get this lovely effect with the warping. But this was, I put this on the shelf for a bit because it picks up edges everywhere, and then I don't know if there's anyone on here, but the shadow of the stool is this is an edge, so then it puts a light on it. It's that's not, you can't light a shadow. But yeah, so after doing all this, basically just having fun with shaders because I can get lost for hours in this, I looked at some reference art that Mariana sent me, and I was like, oh look, there's these shapes that the lamps make because they're like a 3D light. It's it casts like a cone, and then it intersects with the wall, which is a plane, and oh yeah, that's conic sections. I did that in university. So suddenly I was like, oh my god, I can just do maths all day, and maths is cool. So I was writing out all these formulas, and there were some bugs, but you can see it starting to take shape, and then I think I swapped the pixel for the lighting instead of adding it, which made this weird egg. We'll skip that one. Don't worry, the videos aren't important. But eventually, this was a little bit yesterday, only today. I got this working with the actual sort of, you see, it's like a, what's it called? It's a hyperbola, or each point is working out how far it is from the line that the lamp sits on and the focal point takes that distance and tries to find out like the equidistant curve between them. You can ask me later if you want to know more about that, but that was kind of cool. Skip that. It's just editor tools. Can I skip? Yes. Oh yeah, and I wanted to show this quickly. I can do cut different coloured lights. That's pretty easy. I'm not intending to, but there might be in some of the palettes. We'll change them up. One of the things that was really important is some sort of occlusion. I've really got a bit like tied up with like, oh, how do you make shadows work with 2D pixel art? And it's really tricky to get something that looks perfect. So I've gone with something that looks good enough. So we have these like pre-shaded sprites. We just do those in A-Sprite, and so like Mariana's done like it's a darker color on this side of the chair, and then for the lighting, it's like not full lighting. It's just this chair is rendered with a texture that's kind of like foreground layer, and it just takes less of the light. It kind of works. I've got to do lots of tweaking with the parameters, but I think we can use this to get like a really good approximation of lighting without having to like do the whole scene in 3D or anything like that. So yeah, we also have a Discord, and it is you can join it. That's a QR code. It goes to that Discord link. And so we haven't really posted a lot in there yet, but we're going to. So if you are interested in seeing this game come to life and seeing progress updates, random screenshots of broken stuff from me, and cool screenshots of concept art from Mariana, then yeah, that's the place to go. I think the videos might have, like, we missed the videos, so we haven't seen like some of the like edge stuff. So like where the basically it's sort of a palette cutout. This is the edge of a lighting sort of arc. Is you've got the sort of any item sprites that you place in the scene, they get this sort of lighting on half, and then there's like a dither zone that's like right on the edge. So maybe I'll show you that next time. Questions? Yes.
What is it made in? Are you using an engine or is it a framework?
This is in Unity.
Okay, this is in Unity.
Clinton.
Will you link the Discord in the Discord for final Discordception?
Yes, I will put the Discord in the showcase channel in the Discord that this house is in. Yes. Okay.
Is the pig a 3D model?
Nope. It is a 2D model. So it is just taking, is basically just being, because it's half in the light, I want to say cone, but like the hyperbola. There's something a bit weird going on with this one in particular because it's got the weird shape. But I was trying to do like two lights overlapping, and this is like right on the edge of where the two zones overlap. But yeah, it's just being shaded differently on different halves, and it sort of gives a nice effect. The edge detection, I'm probably going to have another look at that and bring that back. We'll kind of say, like, I think we're going to do something like, if an object has sort of very bright, almost white pixels on the edge that's the light's coming from, it will basically glow those out a bit and have like a, possibly something that's like, it breaks out of the pixel art briefly. We do also do like sub-pixel like colouring. Like you can see this is a very smooth line here. It's an interesting style, and I think we're still experimenting basically. As I said, I made a lot of these shaders today, or finished them today, so there's lots of parameters to tweak, things to find out, like what works well. Yes, Ash?
Have you considered using like 2D normal maps instead of edge detection for this kind of thing?
I've considered it, but then I can't be bothered to actually make custom ones. So I at some point had a tool which turned a sprite into a, it ran edge detection once, baked out the normal map, and then you'd render things on it, but then you need to like also mark whether it's shiny or not, and then there's like stuff inside the image, like this pig, if it was lit from the left, it might have like the, what do you call it, like the cheek lit up as well. Basically, I'm a coder, and I want to do a system that just turns pixels into fun colors, and turns out sometimes you actually need to like manually make the assets and mark like this bit should be shiny. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Good.
All right, great stuff to Flan and Mariana. The lights look good and the sound nice. So next up is Åke. I forgot what his title was, and I don't have my phone on me. Give it up for Åke for his great presentation.
So I come here to ask him for help, but I'm bad at it, so I might fail. So in my game, I've thought about a lot of things. Like, for example, I want it to be platform independent, and yeah, right now it works on tablet, it works on mobile, it works on PC, and I can use a gamepad with it as well. So it kind of works. Need some polishing to make the work in every configuration and stuff, but I should focus on a PC release first. So I set a timetable for myself is I'm gonna make a Steam page. It seems the easiest. So I want to make a Steam page at the end of April for the game, and then I want to put the game on like early access in the May. I missed the next Steam Fest, the next Fest in June, but I could apply for the Steam Next Fest in October 2024. I also plan to go to Creative Coast Festival the 17th of May. And then there's the Nordic Game Developer Conference that I'm thinking about joining, but yeah, we would have to... I think a booth is pretty expensive, so yeah, if it's a shared booth, I might go with my game and try to show it. So what do I need to get done before the early access? Yeah, I need to program more. I don't really need more levels, but I need to polish them and make them a bit prettier. I also get some help from Remy with levels, and maybe he can help me with like figuring out the concept of like how we could make good levels, how they should look and everything. Then I want some 3D models. Yeah, I want some 3D models for the cat. I might try to make them myself or find something for the early access, or I try to ask someone in the house to make something. Right now I've been using Belinda's 2D model for a while, so that's nice. Sound, I'm not sure what I need for sound, but yeah, some sounds I've gotten on the internet, and yeah, I would need some more music. I have some tunes in my head, but I'm not sure. So I might look for inspiration for that. The story, I don't want the story to get in the way of the like puzzle solving, so it would be a pretty light story. It depends if I find a good way to like have a story with the game. Marketing, yeah, I don't like using social media, but I should use like putting up GIFs of the game on like Twitter or Instagram or something. But most importantly, I need to choose an art style so I can actually make the game look coherent. Alan Kirkeby, he said something that still haunts my mind. What if you go for an abstract art style? It makes it a lot simpler. Like, for example, you have Jellycar, an abstract style, and you have like VVV, and this game that's actually called Gravity Cat, which is basically a VVVVV clone, which would make level design a lot easier. But it also detracts a bit from the realism that I want in the game. I want the game to be based on realistic physics, so an abstract style goes against that. But yeah, as he put it, he could make a game with an abstract art style and then make another game that's more polished and finished with a more semi-realistic art style. Because I find it hard to make this kind of level into something coherent that's... Yeah, if I want a lot of levels that can look like these, how do I make a coherent art style for levels like these? If I don't have a what do you call it? Like, how do I do this with a realistic art style? I'm not sure. Anyway, decisions pending on art style. That's the biggest decision I gotta make up my mind about. And yeah, thank you for listening. Questions? Yes, Daniel?
might have zoned out somewhere in the middle, but like I don't think I am, but you said you were going to ask for help somewhere in the presentation. What is the specific help you're asking for?
I don't know. It's a cry for help. Yes?
Right. So I've seen in other games where there's usually a procedural step in the level editing. So the artist makes like the stitching together bigger parts, and there's procedural steps to generate graphics that connect those parts, make everything seamless in the end. Is this something that you would call an art style that you can still build puzzles with?
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking about the whole time. So yeah, would probably work the best if you want a lot of levels, yeah. To have something that you can stitch together, yeah. It's good to see.
Brainstorming.
Yeah. Yes?
I have a question about the, like, since you said it's like kind of a cry for help, do you want people to come up to you after and like just recommend random stuff to you?
Sure.
Based on their knowledge.
Recommend random stuff to me.
Yeah, if someone has like, oh, I could give you some advice, are you like inviting people to give you advice or?
Yeah.
About?
Yeah, sure. That sounds good, I think. Yeah.
Maybe you can make a requests thread as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be possible, yeah.
Put a team together.
Yeah.
Alright. No more questions?
Thanks.
Alright, give it up for Åke. Alright, our final public presentation of the night is me. And the inmates are running the asylum today, fellas. So, ladies and gentlemen, last week I did some weird framing device around the Ghosts of Christmas Past, and we saw stuff I did prior to Spelkollektivet. This is everything I've done since February 29th. So, the final monthly update. Bottle Sky is the main project I'm here working on at Spelkollektivet. It's the reason I don't have to pay rent. It's a game being published by the house, a space drilling game I'm doing with Mariana's doing some sound, and a former homie Lucas is in Australia making the rest of the game and all the lovely music. So I keep doing this background and it keeps needing more iterations. It wasn't quite... The specs of this file didn't work well for what Lucas needed to do in-game, so I touched it up and expanded it just a little bit, and I made a new render of this character, Grahim, who's going to be here, and this is what he'll look like in-game as he's in this space. He has his console, and there's UI, hopefully, that we can get to look like this for the actual product. Yeah, I also made a thumbnail for Lucas's YouTube channel, which is so close to 69 subscribers. I know we can get him there. So please, just 3 of you, no more, go to Ray McClaws on YouTube, and you can follow Bottle Sky's development. Yeah, and so these are our main characters in Bottle Sky. This is kind of the Rosetta Stone I've used for the entire art direction of the game. But so far, most of these characters have just been T-posing, so I've given a render for our main character Claire and that character Grahim. But for the rest of the cast, I figured let's stop them from T-posing. So, Carlos is the ship's AI, Carl OS. Here's his little new render. Here's Tanahuka, who's the bigger ship's engineer and mechanic. And here's Hilda, who runs the cafeteria and helps everyone with all their problems. So, next up is Claymores of Lost Kingdom. It's a game I've been doing commissioned art for. It's a Polish game by a man named David. So yeah, last time I showed this paladin guy, and I've done poses for him. So he's idle, he's attacking, he's hurt, he's praying. The 4 states of being. Yeah, I also did some thumbnails for David to send for a press kit. But more importantly, his demo's out, and it's really good. I highly recommend everyone play it, just because the game really comes alive when you can replay it a couple of times, because the entire gimmick is that every possible combination of stats, or pair of stats, has its own devoted deck. Yeah, Dice T Studios is Neil and Medium Chris's studio, and I made this logo for them this week. Calcium Chaos, I did not make this logo. But I did do this bullet animated effect thing for some new pirate enemies they have. Alvin, we all remember Alvin, great homie, and he's giving me money to draw a cat. So, cat. I don't know if this counts as my first furry commission if it's in cat form, because I've drawn sheep and horses before, and like I don't think that counts as furry stuff. But yeah, I hope Alvin's doing well. He is actually. I spoke to him. He's doing great. Valkyrie Saga. We all remember Bosco, great homie. Yeah, he's got a game called Valkyrie Saga. But yeah, it's his cool 3D retro platformer. That he, for some reason, jacked up the saturation on the art I gave him, and I don't know why he did that. But I did some concept art for some of his enemies, NPCs, and an enemy. I'm kind of happy with how it turned out, but I probably need something more disciplined for him. But yeah, here's how he probably wants them. With the saturation all the way up. That joke didn't land. Satan Stole My Girlfriend. My big task for this month was to upload this PNG to our GitHub, and I didn't do that, I forgot. But also, James asked me to do a Steam capsule, so I did this. And here's all the variations that Gabe Newell wants. Alright, and Fate Lock is my pet project. It's a permadeath roguelike monster collecting battling game. This is a mock-up I've done a while ago. And oh shit, new challenger. We have Go-Getter, number 265, Dummy Thwack, 266, and Knockwood, 267. They're archery training dummy fellows. And yeah, so last year Paulina made an activity to do a daily art challenge for March-Tober 2023. I thought it was fun, and that's where I really started Fate Lock. So it's slightly over its anniversary of proper development, I'd say. But yeah, I went a bit overboard with that 31 art prompt challenge and did 100 monster designs. But I liked it. I thought it was fun. Let's do it again. But I'm not going to make 100 monsters because I'm not a crazy person. So, the goals for this round were to make usable sprites for the game. I did this mock-up of how I want the actual things to bounce around and move at each other. Obviously it needs a lot more iteration, but this is generally what I'm going for, so everything can have an idle stance, a dead sprite, a hurt sprite, an attacking sprite, and a yelling, buffing magic sprite. And the other goal was to do every prompt, because it annoyed me that last year I just ignored a bunch of the prompts. Because, like, that isn't an oiger, is it? So, number 1, Leaflet. He's a little leaf guy. Yeah, I posted this on the Discord already. Number 2, Screamash. You just saw him in that GIF mock-up. Pumpkin. Number 3, Mushroom. This is Mushy. He's actually a D&D character I had that I've ported over into this game and made him a monster, which is such a tragic arc for him. Number 4, Gordian is a herb. I checked. Big pumpkin is a herb. Leaflot is just a big pile of leaves. It's all in the name. Number 6, Aptor is an apple. It's a worm and an apple. Here he is. Toadillic, I posted this one tactically on Johanna's birthday. Big frog. Staticub is a cat. I'm not too happy with this design, but whatever, he's fine. You can stay. Posers is a puppet that is a hand puppet for hand, but that wasn't really handy enough. So, new challenger. War Thumb, the thumb wrestler. And his evolution, Armageddon. Anyway, scissors. So last year I had these scissors, paper, rock people for the type dynamics, but then we changed how our types work, so this is no longer an effective triangle. So that means new challenger! Ken Shears. It's a scissor lady, and she can kick fire. Number 11. Oh shit, new challenger! This is Miss Viscous. She's the pre-evolved form of Brouhaha. And here she is living her best life. And also dying. New challenger! You saw this guy earlier, Spookiki. He's a skeleton key, and he evolves into a rib cage. It's the Lock from Fate Lock. Yeah, so Rib Banish I kind of like. He might be like a mascot for the game, and he does this. He animates the bird inside him. And yeah, here's the sprites for Spookiki doing everything that you saw him do earlier. And then some. A new challenger! This is Blilly Wizard. He's a Blizzard Lizard Wizard. Alright, and here's Brouhaha again. She now has some more sprites. And then... Challenger! This is Die. He's a Snake Eyes, Roll Them Bones, Snakes and Ladders board game guy. And he evolves into the Ouija board, Spielbound, who is an incredibly complicated design. And somehow I managed to draw all of these in a single day, which was pretty good for what I could do for this project. Next up, Dramedy, easy mode, just a guy with masks. 17, Tarotman. This guy's just supposed to be like a bitch peacock, but I keep making him cool. Yeah, shoutouts to Daniel. 18, Banshee. This one used to be called Bansheep, but Cassette Beasts beat me to that name. And funny enough, this is like the other starter to the one I chose, so I played Cassette Beast without ever meeting it. And then I found out after the fact. But yeah, also this is my birthday, but I don't have time to age. Next up, Possessed, a little skull fossil monster. Oh shit!
Who's that monster?
Also works. It's Grief Plot. He's a grave. Originally I was just going to draw like a zombie guy, but I made a new one because Martin from Denmark specifically asked me to make a grave Pokemon. I don't know why. Very somber of him. It evolves into Stickstones, which is like a big crocodile coffin. And yeah, here he is posing. Because he has text on him, he needs to have mirrored sprites because of his beautiful makeup. Jar was the next prompt. I'm just like, this is a jar. How do I make a jar into a monster? But then, new challenger! We have Viscar, a canopic jar. Yeah, it's kind of grotesque, but you know, the game is slightly edgier than some of the competition, so I figured we could get away with it. And next up for Rainbow, this is Tetracorn, who we created last year for St. Patrick's Day, but this time it was 5 days later. But as I was drawing him, I came across a game design problem that was annoying me, which is that the idea of him is that he's a rare variant of a common creature, but that just means that most of the time when you meet his pre-evolved form, it feels bad and you hate him. So we need some consolation prize to soften the blow. So, new challenger! His Clovergrown. So we needed something that makes Tetracorn look good by comparison, so he needed to look like an idiot, hence this Daffy Duck reference, but also because he's a pile of clover, I made him the Cloverfield monster. Next up, Sleep, Counting Sheep, Doll Eep, the evolution of Banshee. For 24, we have Candy, but I already had the Candy monsters all done, so that means new challenger. On Fondue night, thanks to Sasha, I created this creature, Fondo. And it turns into Tar Mousse, which is a chocolate mousse tar pit creature, and it got all the sprites. I'm really happy how this turned out. I like gooey monsters because I don't need to worry about their bones. Next up, new challenger. It's Thesaurus. It's a book. Yeah, pretty simple. 26 for Moon. So these are some older guys, but I was never happy with their designs, so I had a shot at redesigning them so that the big one looked less like he was getting crushed by the moon. And yeah, the little one got some sprites. And for 27, it's Seal Lion. It's a candle seal.
It's so cute.
And it shoots fire and ice, just like George R. R. Martin would want. 28, Medinium. This is a pretty simple design, just a simple older existing creature, so that was not too stressful of a day. 29, again, another simple design. We're getting some easy ones towards the end. But then for Coffee, originally I sketched this basic coffee whirlwind monster, but it didn't really have much of an X factor. I wasn't excited about it. So then I thought of a civet, which is this rare monster that some of you may or may not be familiar with, which is quite famous for eating coffee beans, and then it poops them out, and we use them as gourmet coffee. People really like eating this thing shit, so... yeah, so here's our new challenger. It's, Coffee Diarrhea Sonic the Hedgehog. And this is the original concept art, which is worse. And finally, March 31st, a new challenger. It's House Trained, and his evolution Sir Burrow. And yeah, here he is, just a dog, 5 times. And so, March-Tober 2024, 31 monsters with 6 drawings each. That's 186 drawings and 22 new monsters on top of that for over 200. We doubled what we did last time, and now about 50 of the monsters so far have been sprited. So just 230 to go, which is 7 to 8 months at this rate. Woo! Any questions? Yes, Flan.
Is the white box cube that you used as like a template, is that a
Yeah.
block monster?
Yeah, why would it not be?
Okay, cool. It just looked like it was like for posing and like a default thing.
Yeah, well, that's part of the joke, is we have this one family of, it's a little triangle, a cube, and a giant sphere that test the extremes of our game's size limits, but we figured we might as well make that process fun and make it a creature. Ash.
Fuck it, that was so much I have to remember. First of all, is the bluely lizard, you don't have to go all the way back, it's okay. Well,
there he is.
Is this a King Gizzard reference?
Yeah, it's like on the mind.
Okay, cool. The second thing is not a question but a comment. This presentation reminded me that this place used to be an insane asylum. Thank you. Very good.
Hey, it was rehab.
feedback.
Alice.
Do you think after Nintendo takes everything you're worth, when Sega comes in for the Sonic the Hedgehog ripoff?
Well, they'll compete, they'll lock each other
Will
out.
they take you apart in pieces?
Hopefully they fight amongst themselves. Marika.
My question is, so each of these you did in a day.
Yeah, all of the 5 sprite things like this.
And so how long do you take to come up with an idea and a design and then doing it, and like what's the average?
And normally the idea is just like I'll be, barely able to sleep at night, and I'll be just like, oh, what if there was a hyena? And I just write it down on a Discord server and then proceed. And then, yeah, like the designs can vary. Like the sketch will, maybe be a couple of minutes, and then the fine lineup might be an hour, and then some of the complicated designs can be 3 hours for a concept. And then the posing can be, again, it varies a lot on how elaborate the monster is. Like, as I said, this guy was like probably the most complicated one I've sprited so far. But yeah, some of them were much easier, but this guy pretty much took me the entire day.
How does your inspiration work? Is it just you see the thing and it makes this, or do you research?
Well, part of that was me being stubborn about the March-Tober prompts. Like, there's a big list of words that, like, in theory, like, why couldn't you make a monster out of all of these? So then it's like, okay, how? So then, like, we're reverse engineering, what could a Ouija board be? So then we go, board games, we go a wooden board with the stocks around it. We look at the, Google image search Ouija board, and you see the token has kind of a skull shape. So I'm like, okay, what if that was what it was doing there? And then other stuff like the jar, where it's like, that's such a non-monstrous object that I then have to reverse engineer, like what's a cool jar in the real world. Alice.
What's the is it? It's a Pokemon issue, but like typings and stuff like that, like.
Yeah, our typings in the game will be pretty close to Pokemon by and large, but we, some of them are like passive-aggressive notes, like that I'd be like, why isn't ice good against water? That's annoyed me the entire life I've lived. So this game it would be, and then, like we don't have rock and ground, we just have earth, and, we don't have fairy at all, but we do have a holy type, and we'll probably mix and match things more and more as development goes. Daniel.
Are all of these monsters going to make it into the final game, or are any of them on like chopping block?
If they've been sprited, they've got very good odds of making it to a final game, because like they have assets already. Like, so I assume like when you get to the bigger roster, like the 250 I posted or whatever, like a lot of these guys are not going to make the cut. Like some of them I just don't like and have. Yeah, they will be sacrificed and pay for their crimes accordingly. Alright, cool. That concludes SGDC, ladies and gentlemen. Well, at least the public section there is another section that you will not get to see. Yeah, so, Patreon. We can buy bikes and fun things. James specifically said the Patreon money is the fun money. So if you put Patreon money, we can have a ball pit, we can have a flamingo, we can have a petting zoo. Just get us all the good stuff. Empty your wallets, please.
Make us Aquamundo ARL.
Yeah, we want to be Aquamundo in real life. No one's ever done it before. Thank you, Uton Games, for saying drugs. But